Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast. Hi, it's Frankie.
Yeah, it's Hannah.
So, Frankie,
Yes,
what did we do yesterday?
we watched more of the Idol Star sports things.
Yeah. And how did you fare
I did
on the
awful. I got
bet?
nothing right. I got no predictions right. I lost another bet to Amanda.
You don't want to be in debt to Amanda.
You don't.
It's just desserts. I just owe desserts.
It's true, but he's still in debt, and you gotta learn, man. When will you learn to always bet for the right person? You pick the wrong person every
The
time.
issue is, I thought Team World had a ringer. They didn't, and then I thought that the other team would fucking learn to cover the one guy that was actually doing well on Suga's team besides Suga, and they also didn't do that. So I don't know what they were doing. That guy was taking wide open threes the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
What were they
I
playing?
don't get it. Basketball.
And
Basketball
football.
was the one we made our bet on.
Yeah.
But they also did running and archery. Again, the archery was bad this year.
Yeah, Frankie was very
I don't like
upset
the
with.
team. I don't like the team format. No one was wearing bunny ears. Disgusting.
That was your problem?
That was one of the problems, yeah.
Why were they wearing bunny ears?
The first year that we watched, the
2014.
one girl was wearing bunny ears. I don't know. It was probably her gimmick as an idol,
I think,
Okay.
yeah.
or she just
Okay.
wanted to wear them. I don't know.
So, uh, relay race. Frankie also lost that.
Yeah, but I came in second on that one.
You did.
And to be fair, you picked BTS on the relay, and no one thought they would win.
Okay.
None of the commentators thought they would win. So it was an underdog pick from you.
So, you picked 17.
It did. Also, though, you wouldn't have let me pick BTS,
You're right, I wouldn't have.
so it's not my fault.
Here's the thing. I like going against you, but you are allowed to vote with me.
You can't. You got to go against people.
Where's the
You
fun in
don't.
having the same bet?
Yeah, you can't have the same person. There's no fun
Well,
there.
we're not gonna do it for everything. Just when we agree on something, it's fine. Just like
Yeah,
we
we
did
only
it
do it. We
for
only bet.
basketball.
We only bet on one event. It's usually the big one, like basketball or
Football.
soccer. But
Yeah.
like, I want to go against you. I want to root against your team. That makes me more invested.
All right. Fine. Then you'll always lose, because I'm just really good at picking.
She's watching ahead, is what she's saying.
I haven't watched these since, I want to say, the last one that I watched was the 2015 one. So I have no idea what to expect for the ones moving forward. And I watched that in 2015. I was in college at that time, and I was too poor to pay for Cocoa or anything. I couldn't even afford Netflix at that time. So no. Nice try, but no. I was trying to think of something
Waffles saw a cat today.
that's nice.
How'd that go?
That was exciting because I don't know if it was a feral cat just wandering or someone's outdoor cat.
I
I
don't know.
did not know what it was. I'm sorry, this is more exciting to me than your K-pop
Yeah, what if I wasn't done talking about
sports
it?
team. Yeah, sorry, no. My dog seeing a cat for the first time ever is more exciting.
No. And it isn't the first time Waffles saw a cat.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, don't even
I
bullshit me. We all
forgot he
saw
went
it.
to your house.
Yeah.
I forgot we
Did,
took him to your old apartment.
did you hear this nonsense that she was just spewing, Frankie?
I didn't remember which of the dogs had been to your house. I knew one of them had, but I didn't know which one.
I have
The one that
video
doesn't
I can't be
of him
expected to
eating the
remember that.
cat.
Yeah, you John Lawrence and kept looking for John Lawrence.
That's right. I'm sorry. I have the memory of a goldfish.
I'm noticing.
I think I'm genuinely losing my memory. It's not good.
It's fine. I I also forgot whose episode it was today.
Did
Which
put into our group chat. She said, "Which episode am I watching? Which episode is it?" And I thought you were just asking like, "What are we doing tonight?" And that was concerning too. But then you
there
said
was
no
no
that
way
I'm
this was not a
watching.
concerning text.
Is it episode 6? And I didn't know what you meant, so I said episode 6 for what? You typed Eve. I assume you meant WCW,
Yeah, I did.
and it auto corrected to Eve. So I saw the Eve text and I called you. And I'm like, "What are you on about?" And you said, "What episode am I watching?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." You said, "The wrestling." What wrestling episode? I was like, "It's your episode." You go, "Oh shit," and hang up. And I assume you immediately put on Disney Plus to watch Cinderella.
I did.
And then I like, Hannah comes in after all this. "What the fuck are you
Like,
going
just
on
by
about?"
2 minutes, too. I was off by 2 minutes. I could have watched all of this live. And
Yeah.
I respond with, "What the fuck you talking about?"
Yeah, I don't know. It did not register that it was my episode. I was so sure that it was yours.
Yes, next week. Luckily, Cinderella is a shorter movie.
I know.
Were you confused because last week we watched a princess film, so you just assumed it was yours?
No, I think I was confused because Frankie talked about the wrestling guy dying, and I assumed it was his episode next because we talked about wrestling.
Hey, I do have something. This is 3rd week in a row. 2 weeks in a row we had someone die. No one's died this week.
Thank God.
No one that we talk about on any of our shows that I know of has died. So
All
we're
right.
we're good on that end.
Okay, we're in the clear. All right. Well, let's talk about Cinderella. Yeah, yeah, he's gonna start singing. All
I
right.
was excited. It was a movie. We watched an
It
actual film for
was
We
an
had a
Disney.
actual.
story.
One story.
I'm
And
gonna
they
say this right now. I did not expect for the stepmother to be as heinous as she was. I don't remember how cruel some of this shit was.
You always forget. Like I forgot about a lot of stuff in this movie.
Yeah. I forgot that the king really wanted his son to get busy with a woman so that he could have grandkids.
That's his
Sounds like my
whole
own grandma.
that's all his motivation is. He's like, "I want grandchildren."
Yeah. I just thought he was just pissed off that his son wasn't like getting married or like it was time like for him to get married. I didn't
That's what I
remember.
remembered.
Yeah. I didn't remember him just being like, "Nah, it has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with I'm old and I want grandkids."
Yeah, I thought it was like the Aladdin thing where it's like, "Oh, it's time for Jasmine to get married. She's of age to
Yeah.
get married, so she's getting married." Not, "Listen, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
I want
Jesus.
grandkids."
Well, Cinderella is a 1950 film made in 1950. And it is an American animated musical fantasy film that is produced by Walt Disney Productions and released by RKO Pictures. It is based on Charles Perrault's 1697 fairy tale. I believe in French it's called Cendrillon. If I am remembering correctly, the only reason I know that is because I was a big fan of Vocaloid back in my teen years, and there's a song named that.
You don't remember from your years of French classes?
No, funny enough, my French classes, so I went to a Catholic school for high school, and I guess at the Catholic schools in Johnstown where I grew up, you didn't start learning languages until high school. But I went to a public school up until middle school, or up until high school, and then I transferred. So I took 2 years of French in middle school. So by the time I got to high school, I was in French 3 my freshman year, while everybody else was in French 1. So I was hanging out with juniors. And they were like, "Well, you still need to have French after you complete French 4," which is all that the teachers really planned for, you know. So the last 2 years, which were my French 5 and French 6, it was just me and my teacher, Mrs. Petak, just like sitting. We would watch movies in French, and then she'd tell me to write a story or to write a summary about them in French. That was my French class.
Did you two just sit there and gossip in French also?
Yeah, we did. We definitely
Nice.
just like talked in French, just like, how was your day? What did you do? And in a weird way, she became kind of like my therapist. Just like, oh, what's been going on? And it's just like, people are mean. Like, this school has a bunch of bullies and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I know.
That sounds like so much fun.
It actually was. I love Mrs. Petak. I saw her recently, because my cousins all go to the same high school that I went to, and my cousin Ava was in the state championship for basketball, so I went to see her play. And I ran into her, and she gave me like the biggest hug ever. And she's like, "I'm so proud of you," and like, "Look at all you like, you know, done and stuff." Like very like, I don't know, grandma-esque. It was very nice. Petak and Mads, those were the French teachers that we had. Everybody called her Mads because I guess there was a running joke when she first started. They didn't know whether to call her Madam or Mademoiselle because I think she was married previously, but was no longer. And they all decided to call her Mads, and the name stuck. So I also found out that these little fuckers that are at my high school now, they get to go to France every 2 years. We didn't have that. I could have gone to France. Cousin Ava just got to go trumping around fucking France. So, during the early 1940s, Walt Disney Productions apparently had suffered financially after losing connections to the European film markets due to World War II. Because of this, the studio endured
Not
commercial
not
failures.
because not because they made really poor quality anthologies.
You're actually going to be surprised by this. So, the commercial failures that they have listed here are Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Bambi, which is our number one spot.
Just because it's a commercial failure doesn't mean it's not a bad movie or not a good movie.
All of which would later become more successful with re-releases in theaters and on home video. By 1947, the studio was over $4 million in debt and was on the verge of bankruptcy. So Walt Disney and his animators returned to feature film production in 1948 after producing a string of package films. Cinderella was released to theaters on February 15th, 1950. It received critical acclaim and was a box office success, making it Disney's biggest hit since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And it helped reverse the studio's financial losses. It received 3 Academy Award nominations, including Best Scoring of a Musical Picture, Best Sound Recording, and Best Original Song for... Anybody want to take a guess?
A dream is a wish your heart makes.
Wrong.
Bippity boppity boo.
Oh,
You're correct, Frankie.
Hannah, I would have gone with "A Dream You Is a Wish Your Heart Makes," just the better song.
my second guess was going to be So This Is Love.
Yeah. Nope. One you wouldn't have expected.
But no, that kind of makes sense because Bippity Boppity Boo is
It's a
pretty
classic.
ingrained. Yeah, it's pretty ingrained into Disney's DNA.
Yeah. In 2018, Cinderella was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Also, ripped to the Library of Congress.
Why? What happened?
The head librarian was fired,
Oh,
and
well,
I'm just assuming it's might not exist within the next few years because of the misogynistic Cheeto.
this film does have um, one of my favorite pieces of animation and Walt Disney's famous favorite piece of animation. Anybody want to take the guess?
The dress.
It is. It is the dress transformation that was
Not even
animated
the
by Mark Davis.
not even the best animation in the movie, but all right.
Shut up, Frankie. Don't
What?
diss
I'm
Walt.
just saying. It's not the
What is
best.
your
It's not even.
personal favorite? Or what do
Yeah,
you
would
think is
My
be.
best?
the best bit of animation in the movie.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There's 3 moments that I think are better than it.
Okay.
The bubbles when she's cleaning and singing. I don't remember what she's singing at that point.
Sing Sweet
She's not.
Nightingale.
Yeah, yeah. So that is better.
Mhm.
When the fairy godmother is like very happy and like, oh, you don't have to thank me, you don't have to thank me, and then Cinderella like is like, I can't go in this, and it's still all on the fairy godmother, and she's so happy, and then there's like she looks at Cinderella, and there's like this instant switch to like, oh, you're right, that dress is ugly now. That facial change is fucking awesome. And then the best bit of animation is at near the end when Lady Tremaine realizes that it was Cinderella at the ball, and they just like slowly move in on her face, and the shading, everything around gets dark, and it just focuses in on her eyes as you realize that she's realized what's happening and she's about to do something super evil. Those are all
My favorite
better
is
parts of
actually
animation.
my favorite one. The dress is one of my favorites, but I think my favorite out of here is whenever Cinderella is crying and the fairy godmother just kind of appears. So let's discuss cast, and then we'll get into this. Eileen Woods as Cinderella, Eleanor Audley as Lady Tremaine. We will see Eleanor Audley again as Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. Vera Felton as the fairy godmother. She also voices the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland and Flora from Sleeping Beauty. Rhonda Williams as as Drizella Tremaine, and Lucille Bliss as Anastasia Tremaine. James McDonald as Gus and Jacques. McDonald also voices Bruno. Louis Van Rooten as the King. Van Rooten also voiced the Grand Duke. So he's just talking to himself.
You think he just
Yeah.
recorded a conversation? Like he just did the
Yeah,
lines back and forth?
I hope he did. Like a table read. I think that would be really funny. The rest of these are all uncredited, by the way. William Edward Phipps as Prince Charming.
He
Mike
talks?
Douglas. Yeah, like three sentences maybe. Most of the time it's whenever he's saying, "No, don't leave." Mike Douglas provides the singing voice for Prince Charming. Marion Darlington as Cinderella's bird friends. June Foray as Lucifer. Such a good name for a cat. Betty Lou Gerson was the uncredited narrator in the prologue. Lucille Williams, Thurles Ravencroft, Clint McCauley, June Sullivan, and Helen Siebert provided uncredited voices for Perla and the other mice. And John Woodbury provided uncredited additional voices. So yeah, we open with this movie, of course, in the same fashion that most Disney films open at this time. The credits go first. Very beautiful credit scene. I like it. And the slipper in the center. Whatever. I forget what song is
We say
playing.
this every time. We say this every time, but more movies should do this.
Yeah, they really should. I do forget what song is playing.
More
I'm guessing it's
animated.
like an over. Yeah.
I think it's an overture of like, yeah, you're right. It's an overture, I think, of all the other songs.
Yeah. I really don't know because I skipped it because I only had an hour to watch this. Uh, so we zoom in on a pretty book. This is also, I know I mentioned this before with like Snow White and some of the other books. Pinocchio. You can get this at Disney. It is a journal. It's $50. Um,
Damn, those are expensive thoughts to keep.
yeah, I know. Um, so we open up on a book, very pretty book. Um, and a narrator reads to us the prologue, once upon a time. I guess he was he a lord? Because she's a lady. I guess he was a lord.
Was who a lord?
Cinderella's dad?
Oh, yeah, I don't know if he had, like, a title or if he was just lord.
Yeah. He lived in a chateau, though. You know.
He was some very, very low noble, is what it's hinted at.
He's a gentleman, sure. He's very
He's
kind and
rich.
devoted. Yeah,
He is in
yeah,
polite society.
yeah. He's
Ooh, I
very.
like that.
That's fine. He's a kind, devoted father. Uh, Literally, Cinderella did not want for anything. Little spoiled little girl, but like not spoiled in like a mean, evil, snotty way. Maybe she was. We really don't know how Cinderella was as a little girl. Uh,
Also, he kinda hot.
yeah, no, a hundred
That, like,
percent.
brief glance you get of
Yeah,
him, like,
when
"Oh,
he's yeah,
oh."
when he's like in front of the fountain, like yeah, no, he's kind of sexy. Bridgerton men need to learn from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is widowed. Despite being a nice dad, he's like, I guess like most men in this time, which I'm guessing is like 17, 1800s. My daughter doesn't have a mom anymore. She needs a mom. I'm gonna marry this woman, who's also, I guess, from, gentle society or whatever, who has two daughters who are the same age as mine, because that's gonna work out well.
He's like, "She my daughter can have a mother figure. She can also have friends."
That never works.
You
You
tried,
bring
dude. You
you
tried.
you bring another you bring two other girls in on my turf. We are not. That's like trying to get your girlfriend or your boyfriend to be friends with your friends. You can't force that shit. If you force it, they're gonna hate that. But he marries Lady Tremaine, and she brings along her two daughters, Anastasia and Drizella. And also, when you look at them in the window, because they're like peering down at the courtyard in the window when you first see them, the girls are fine or whatever. There's a baby Lucifer, and he's so cute. Hannah, you need to get a picture of baby Lucifer and
Okay.
put it on the Instagram.
Okay.
Lady Tremaine is just holding him in her arms, and he's adorable. Just like all fairy tales, though, the dad dies. Although, except for Snow White, because if I remember correctly, the dad wasn't dead. He just didn't care, is what we decided.
We had to look this up.
Yeah, yeah. And he was not dead. He just didn't know what was going on or didn't care.
Just a bad father.
This one died, so he didn't have a choice. But you would you'd think that he would like put in his will that he would make his daughter like the owner of his estate and not his wife. Whatever.
I mean, she wasn't of
Of age.
age. She was a child.
Yeah, but he could say that once she's of age, he owns the estate.
True.
Hmm.
Also, do we think Lady Tremaine killed him?
No, because he was somebody who, like, if you listen, they say that he squandered all of the fortune. I think if he were alive, he would still, like, maintain the fortune and, like, you know, have money. Because she's not working anymore. That's why the fortune was squandered, because they have no more money. Because he is dead and not working. I don't think she loved him, but I also don't think she killed him because he was her meal ticket. So Lady Tremaine, once the dad dies, I guess wants to just forward her own daughter's interests, which is fine. It's fine and all to want to forward your daughter's interests, but I feel like when you get married to somebody, you also have to then forward your stepdaughter's interests. She did not want to though
She
because
doesn't care.
yeah, she did not want to though because Cinderella was prettier than her daughters. I guess as a child, sure. Um,
Why are all these adult women in Disney movies jealous of children?
I don't know. I don't know. So she makes Cinderella become a scullery maid, basically, in her own house. Makes her sleep in an old dusty attic. Her only friends are mice. So we start, early in the morning. Cinderella's sleeping, and the birds come in and wake her up. She has a nice little talk with her bird friends because that's totally not crazy. I I should say, despite I know I gave Snow White a little bit of flack for this. This one I feel like is okay because she barely gets any human contact
Yeah, she
aside
needs to
from
talk to someone.
yeah, aside from horrible people. So go ahead and talk to birds. I understand.
I too talk to birds, so, you know,
I don't talk to mice.
I
Have
don't
you
see
had a
mice.
mouse around long enough to talk to?
No, if there is a mouse in my house, most of the time they do not live to see tomorrow.
Yeah, I think mice know to stay away from your place.
Yeah. You'd think though, you'd think that like no mice would even dare trespass or like that I wouldn't see them at all because I have so many cats. No, not true. Sometimes none of them even want to chase a mouse. If I remember correctly, there was once uh a squirrel who got into my house back when I lived in Johnstown. And that squirrel escaped. He escaped my house with at the time had I think like 6 cats because we were fostering some. He escaped. He did he did suffer some battle damage, which was my cats ripped his tail off.
The
But
full
I like
tail?
yeah. So I like to think that that squirrel went back to his little squirrel colony and told his grandkids how he survived a house with 6 cats. And these are his battle scars. He no longer has a tail. But yeah, only one of my cats at the time was chasing him. And I'll let you guess which one it was.
Was it Spotty?
No, Spotty was just like, "Oh, I'm too tired."
Was it secret?
It was Secret. He did it. He was the one who did it. Which, by the way, Secret really missed you, Frankie.
I know.
So yeah, she's talking to her birds and she's telling them how, like, you know, they interrupted her dream and it was a wonderful dream, but she can't tell you what the dream is because it won't come true. And she starts singing, "A dream is a wish your heart makes," which, not true. I've had dreams and I definitely wish that they don't come true.
Oh, those are nightmares,
Yeah.
not
Not
dreams.
only
They're different.
that, no, I've had dreams too. Like, and just weird shit happens. And I don't want those to come true. I wouldn't say they're nightmares, but they're just strange. I remember one of my dreams dealt with a snowman that was throwing fireballs.
That sounds like a nightmare. That's not a nice dream.
No, I wasn't afraid of him, but I was just like, what the fuck do I do now? So, we do see as she's singing this, her little mice friends start to come out along with her bird friends who are already out. We see one mouse who's waking up. He sleeps on a feather. He wakes up to his tail being tied in a knot, much like anytime you put like corded headphones in your pocket. And he looks so irritated that he has to untangle them or untangle his tail. So, uh, so they're all listening to her sing, and then the big clock, like big castle clock, goes off. She has to get ready for the day. And of course, the mice help her get ready. The birds make her bed. The birds also sponge bathe her, I think.
They
I
just
I
poured water on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They just poured water. But I do really like that. Like they're singing during all of this,
Mhm.
and they change Cinderella's vocals when she gets hit by the water,
Yeah.
and it's such a little touch. But they would never do this in a modern Disney movie.
Yeah.
They would just be like, "Who cares?" But it's so cool to do stuff like that. God, these
Mhm.
movies are so good.
Yeah, because people actually took time and care into them. So, um, so they're polishing her shoes. That some of the mice are actually like stitching her dress up, like fixing holes, and I'm sure she has because she's probably had to wear this dress, I don't know how many years. So, this is also where I think it's bullshit to lie to kids that your animal friends are gonna help you do anything.
Your
Just
animal
keep.
friends will laugh at you as you struggle.
Yeah. My animal friends, I think, purposely piss me off. So, after she's all dressed and stuff, Jacques comes in and he's like, "Hey, there's another mouse. We got a visitor." And Cinderella's like, "Oh, okay. Well, she'll need a dress." And Jacques is like, "No, boy mouse." She's like, "Oh, well,
Let Gus wear a dress.
I don't think that dress would fit him."
Well, that shirt barely fit him.
Yeah.
So
So
let him
It's
wear
the
the
best
dress.
character. It's Gus
Jacques or
Gus.
Gus? Oh,
It's Gus Gus.
I fucking hate Gus.
Fucking love Gus Gus.
Um, so she pulls out a shirt, and as she's pulling out the shirt, Jacques like, "Hey, he's in a rat trap," and she's like, "Why the fuck didn't you tell me?" And goes to go get him. He is naked, and I think because all of the other mice are not naked, he just feels very naked. Like almost felt wrong looking at him without clothes, if that made sense.
But we'll look at
No,
him without pants.
it
Yeah.
does make, but the shirt adds all the difference. It's the same way when we saw that episode or movie of Scooby Doo when Scooby didn't have the collar on and it felt like he was naked even though he never has clothes on.
Yeah. It didn't
Like,
seem
I
right.
get you.
So Cinderella goes, and he's obviously scared. Um, and she tries to like reason with him, but she's like, I'm probably not the best one. Jacques, why don't you go in there? You go into the little trap and talk some sense into him. So he goes in, and Gus is trying to like swing at him. Um, but Jacques manages to calm him down. He's like, "Hey, we're all friends. We like you. Cinderella, she likes you too. She's nice. Come on out of the rat trap. Here." And he leads him out, and she looks at the shirt and definitely has a look like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but puts it on him anyway. But she does put on little shoes. He gets little shoes, which I think is cute, and a hat. And the shirt does barely cover him. She gives him a name. His name is Octavius, which is hilarious because I thought his name was just Gus.
Yeah, same. I didn't realize it was short for something.
Yeah. She's like, but we'll just call you Gus for short. And then Jacques says Gus. And Gus likes it. So, Cinderella then has to get to her chores. She tells Jacques to remind Gus about the cat. And Jacques tells him about the cat. It's a mean and scary cat. Cinderella goes and opens the curtains, which I get why she did it, but why would you even close the curtains if it's not gonna bother anybody? Because it's in the hallway that she opens it. You know what I mean? It'd be different if she had to like close the curtains because the window was in the bedroom, but it's not. But whatever. So she goes into Lady Tremaine's room and she tries to get Lucifer out, which Lucifer gives all cats a bad name.
Lucifer sucks immediately. Immediately sucks. He's
Yeah,
scratching up the floor.
I know.
Get the fuck out of here, Lucifer.
I also just hate how he walks out of the room. Like there are some cats that do this, but man, just the indignant walk that he has just pisses me off. Yeah, are you mad too, John Lawrence? John Lawrence doesn't like him either.
Disney does propagate anti-cat propaganda.
I don't know about that because Figaro was adorable.
Yeah, but like Figaro, one of the very few nice Disney cats.
You're right, there's the Siamese cats that are evil and Lady and the Tramp.
There's the Aristocats.
Oh, she's got a point, Frankie.
There are the
And
Aristocats.
there's Oliver from Oliver and Company.
There's also like
True.
Sergeant Tibbs from 101 Dalmatians.
Who?
There's
Sergeant Tibbs?
Yeah.
I
He's
don't know, but
the
people don't remember Sergeant Tip. People remember Lucifer more. They remember the bad cats more.
which is ridiculous. You know who we don't remember? Fucking Bruno.
I had no idea Bruno was. I was like, "There's a dog in this movie."
We don't talk about him.
Oh my
Do
god.
you think this is why they made the song We Don't Talk About Bruno and named him
No,
Bruno?
no, I
It's a
don't think
deep
that's why.
cut.
It's
It's
super deep.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, just a big fan of Bruno the dog from Cinderella.
100%, I bet you somebody somewhere has asked him about this. And if they haven't, we need to.
Okay,
So,
ask him.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, if this ever
And we all
reaches your
know you're
ears,
listening. We all know you're listening.
if this reaches your ears, or should I say, when this reaches your ears, was the Bruno in the film inspired by Bruno the dog from Cinderella? We await your answer.
I want you to know I'm gonna cut that and put it on the Instagram
Good. You should.
and tag him.
You should. Nobody remembers this dog, and he deserves to be remembered. So, he saves the day, kind of. She's opening the curtains. She gets Lucifer out to give him his breakfast. He's all, like, whiny and bitchy. He doesn't actually say anything, but he definitely is acting all whiny and bitchy because she woke him up. It's not her idea that he gets an early breakfast. Cinderella goes to the kitchen. She gets him breakfast, and she also starts getting, like, I guess the tea and breakfast ready for her stepsisters and stepmother. She sees Bruno, and he's having a cute little dream. And she asks him, "Hey, were you chasing Lucifer?" She's like, "Did you catch him?" "No, that's bad. You shouldn't.
That's so
You,
mean.
I know. You need to learn to like cats," is what she says to a dog, which there are dogs that like cats, but, this cat's kind of a dick. And she knows he's a
Yeah,
dick.
because she tries to name any good quality of the cat of Lucifer's and fails.
Yeah,
She's
she's like,
unable to name a single good quality.
yeah, he must have some good points.
Where would she be at the end of the film if Bruno and Lucifer were friends?
But this cat gets pissed off because she said he has no good qualities, so he fakes an injury. So he scratches Bruno, and when Bruno barks at him, he then screams in pain. He's laying down in the whole fainting position. And Cinderella
Fuck this
takes
cat.
Bruno outside.
Justice for Bruno.
I know. I was
That's
so
my new
upset.
campaign.
I can't blame Cinderella because I know she's busy and she's probably just like, I don't have fucking time for this. But I really want to be like, girl, you know better. You know that dog. So Cinderella goes to give breakfast to the chickens. There's a shit ton of chickens. This means it's also breakfast time for the mice. The mice are planning to go out, but they can't because Lucifer is blocking the door. So one of them has to distract Lucifer. Frankie, how do they determine who's gonna distract Lucifer?
I don't remember.
Anna?
They draw tails.
They draw tails. So they all put their tails in a bunch, and then Jacques picks. And whose tail does he pick?
His own.
Yeah, he picks his own. Which you'd think he would feel that he picked his own. But Gus Gus is like shaking his hand. The two other mice take their hats off and like I guess salute him, while the other one is just like, "Goodbye, sir." Like they all look like he's going to his death. I feel for Jacques. But he goes and he does successfully distract Lucifer by Lucifer, I guess, is laying on his little cat elbow, which I've never seen my cat lay on their elbow like that. But he kicks his elbow in so that his face falls right into his cat milk so that Lucifer will chase him around. So the other mice can go and get their breakfast. So they all go out and they
A
try and get their
noble
breakfast.
sacrifice.
It is, you know what? It's a good strategy too. It worked. So the
Can't
other
Cinderella
mice,
just feed them though?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, why can't they have their own little feeding time? But anyway, so the mice, they all go out and they get some food, except for Gus Gus. The chickens are giving him some trouble, and he loses all of his little corn pieces. It's fine because Cinderella sees him struggling and she gives him like a whole pile, and he helps himself. So he almost like he has a stack of books, but it's a stack of like corn or a stack of feed. He has the corn feed to his chin and he's holding it down. But he sees one that another mouse dropped, and instead of just leaving it there, he has to go get it, and he ends up spilling all of his corn, which Lucifer hears and goes to attack Gus Gus. Lucifer goes to eat Gus Gus, but again, they manage to evade him. I'm trying to remember how they evade him. Oh, the teacup, right. Gus Gus hides in one of the teacups that Cinderella is going to bring to her stepsisters and her stepmother. And before Lucifer can get to him, she puts them on a tray and takes it up. He does try and like get the cup a couple of times from like the banister, but it doesn't work. So Cinderella goes in and drops off the tea trays while also collecting a bunch of laundry, which she is balancing tea trays in two hands and then one on her head. That's some skill. As she is leaving, Lucifer's waiting at the door, waiting to hear, who found the mouse. It's Anastasia. Anastasia found the mouse. So she starts screaming and she's like, "Oh, mother, you'll never guess what Cinderella did. It's awful because she did it on purpose." Meanwhile, Lucifer was waiting outside of Anastasia's door to grab Gus Gus. Cinderella knows what he's playing at and is like, "All right, Lucifer, where is he?" She basically picks him up and makes him let Gus Gus go. Gus Gus runs into Lucifer's foot a couple of times before he runs back into his little mouse hole. Unfortunately, even though she was trying to be nice to Gus Gus, Gus Gus screwed her over by scaring her sisters. So she now has to go in and talk with her stepmother, who accuses her of playing practical jokes and having too much time on her hands. So she gives her so much shit to do. Let me see if I can
I'll be
find.
honest.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest though. It doesn't take much time to put a mouse under a cup.
that's fair.
Like a second, maybe. This is like Lady Tremaine thinks that took way longer than it did than it would have
Yeah.
to.
Well, here's all the things that she says she has to do. The large carpet in the main hall, she wants her to clean it. Clean the windows upstairs and downstairs. She also wants the tapestries and the draperies cleaned. Even though Cinderella just finished them, she has to do them again. Don't forget the garden, scrub the terrace, sweep the halls and the stairs, clean the chimneys. And of course, there's the mending and the sewing and the laundry. And the last thing is to give Lucifer his bath, which Lucifer does not seem pleased about. No cat really is. So moving on from the chateau, we go to the castle, where the king has thrown his crown out the fucking window.
How do we know this? It is a crown-shaped hole in the window.
And we also see the crown. He has wrecked his study, just throwing shit at his duke. He's upset because his son isn't taking any responsibility in getting married. He's like, "I'm not getting any younger. I want to see my grandkids before I go." The Duke's trying to be like all kind. He's like, "No, you don't understand. You don't know what it means for your only child to grow farther and farther away from you." And as he's saying this, it goes from a painting of like Prince Charming as a baby, um, the dad's need to like piggyback ride, to like Prince Charming riding a horse away from his dad, to like Prince Charming just having a giant ass painting of his own. Not a very flattering painting, I'll say. I think his animated self is much handsomer than that painting. Uh, but the king's like, "I want to hear the pitter patter of little feet again." So he decides that we need to make the right conditions for his son to fall in love. So he's gonna have a ball, and all the eligible maidens in the land are going. All of them, because his son is coming back from, I don't know where he's coming back from, but his son's coming back. He's like, we're gonna have a
Not
ball.
getting married, that's for sure.
Yeah. He's like, when are we gonna have this ball? I'm gonna arrange it for, and the king's like, tonight. We're gonna do it tonight. And the duke looks like he's gonna have a fucking aneurysm. He's just like, what do you mean tonight? We have so much to do. It's like early in the morning, not even that early in the morning. I can't do this. But the king is very, very persistent and is like, you gotta make sure every single eligible maiden is here. This poor duke. This poor duke has just fucking generalized anxiety disorder just from being the duke. I also want to mention this king threatens this duke so often.
No
Going back
wonder
to the
he has anxiety.
Yeah, he's always being threatened. At one point, I think the king says if you don't do this correctly, and then he gestures to like his finger across his throat like you're dead. That's terrifying. We move on to piano lessons in the chateau. Or sorry, I guess singing lessons and flute lessons in the chateau with Lady Tremaine playing piano. And Lucifer is suffering. I am suffering. They are really not great singers. Flute playing isn't awful. I've heard worse in like band, but the singing's bad. So bad that Lucifer actually leaves and hears Cinderella singing, and this is where the bubble scene happens. She's scrubbing the floors, and as she puts the rags in, bubbles, you know, come out, and you see her in a bunch of bubbles, and she's
It's
singing
my
very
first
pretty.
beautiful animation scene. I
It's
love that.
yeah, it's Frankie's first beautiful animation scene. While she's doing this, though, Lucifer is being a dick and takes all of the stuff that she just swept, puts it on his feet, and then makes a mess. That is a very typical cat thing. I can't actually fault him for that. I feel like my cats would do that. While she's doing that and she notices, she gets mad, but before she can go over and like tell Lucifer off, she gets a knock at the door. Uh, it's the palace's messenger. She's like, "Oh, I guess this is urgent." He gives her a piece of paper and she's like, "I'll go interrupt the singing lessons." So she does, and Lady Tremaine is about ready to like fucking kill her for interrupting. Um, Whenever she says, "But this came from the palace and it was urgent." So they look and oh, look, it's the ball. They're being invited to a ball. Uh, all eligible maidens need to go. And Cinderella hears that and she goes, "That means I can go too?" And her stepsisters start mocking her. And you know what? I know I said that I liked Anastasia. I don't like her anymore.
We like her in the sequels when she has
Yeah,
character growth.
yeah, but man, uh she is a big C word right now.
Will You Hold My Broom is kind of funny though.
Yeah. Well, is it?
It's a good burn. It's a
It is.
great diss.
Yeah,
It's cutting. That's a cutting diss. It's not like a nice thing to say, but it is cutting. It is definitely like
I
it's
respect
wittier
it.
than it's wittier than they've appeared the entire movie
That's
and
fair.
will appear the rest of the movie.
Well, Cinderella notices that it says all eligible maidens, and she's like, "That means I can go." And Lady Tremaine's like, "Yeah, it does say that. Fine. If you can get your work done, and if you can find something suitable to wear." As soon as Cinderella leaves, her daughters are like, "Mom, how could you do that?" She's like, "Calm down. I said if." Cinderella goes up to her room and takes out one of her mother's old dresses. And she's gonna she plans on doing some restorations to the dress, adding some new things, making it more modern, which I didn't think it was all that bad to begin with. And if she didn't do these alterations, she would have been able to go to the ball no problem, I feel. Because later on, the stuff that the mice use are her stepsister's stuff, and that's what gets them to tear the dress up. But Cinderella's called away and can't wear on the dress, and she's just like, "Well, I guess I'll just go as is." The mice sing Cinderella, Cinderella, which I think is one of Frankie's favorite songs.
Great song.
So the mice are going to help prepare her dress. They do this because Jacques and Gus go and get some beads that I think Drizella has thrown away and a sash that Anastasia has thrown away. They say they're trash. So they go back and take it back up. And they make the dress. Jacques and Gus aren't allowed to do any of the sewing because one of the female mice is like, no, you leave the sewing to the women. Which,
It's
not
upsetting. Let them sew.
let them sew, but also you could have phrased it in a way that wasn't like, women do the sewing around here. You could have phrased it as in, you guys, I don't trust you to do sewing. Because to be fair, I don't think I trust them. They do manage to get the sash and the beads, but not without encountering Lucifer, though they do manage to evade him. Back up there in the attic that is Cinderella's room, which is kind of sad. They continue working on the dress. Honestly, great teamwork. Fantastic teamwork from mice and birds alike. Jacques and Gus do almost cut one of the female mice's tails off, though. So we should be a little bit more careful. But they do finish the dress. And it's very nice. It's pink. I don't like pink. Turns to night and the carriage is here. And Cinderella notices it and she sighs because,
Didn't have time to do anything.
yeah, she didn't have time to do nothing. So, Lady Tremaine, being the bitch that she is, she's like, "You're not ready, child. What's wrong? Why?" She's like, "I'm not going." Oh, what a shame. Of course, they're all like smiling and happy that she's not going. So she goes up. She's trying to convince herself that the ball would be just dull and boring. She's like, no, it would have been wonderful. It would have been great. Which I don't believe it would have. A light like shows up in her, like in the background of the window. She turns around and she sees this beautiful dress that the mice have made. She has to hurry up and get dressed. So she runs down the stairs. She's like, wait for me. So, and the sisters and Lady Tremaine are quite shocked because she looks very pretty. She looks prettier than all of them combined. And the sisters are like, Mother, she can't go. And Lady Tremaine's like, girls, please. We did make an arrangement. So, and she's like, didn't we, Cinderella? And then she gets close to Cinderella, and Cinderella's face looks fucking horrified. But she points out that the beads that Cinderella has are Drizella's, and that makes Anastasia notice that the sash is also hers, and they start tearing this girl's dress apart. This dress that was her mother's. I cannot say enough horrible things about this scene. I was traumatized for her. Lady Tremaine then, like, calls her fucking dogs off. And they go back to the carriage. And Cinderella's just there in a completely ruined dress. And she starts running into the garden, crying. How fucking mean. I'm devastated for her. Anybody else?
This scene and then the scene going into her crying is like some really heartbreaking shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's crying in the garden, and all of the mice and all of the animals are like looking on sad. Bruno's there, the horse is there. The song is A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Make is slowly playing in the background very quietly, and she keeps saying, "No, it's not. I can't have faith in my dreams. They don't exist." Blah 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 blah. Like, she's just like given up all hope. She's like, I can't believe, not anymore. And all of a sudden the fairy godmother shows up, which is one of Amanda's favorite animation scenes, stroking Cinderella's hair and being very grandmothery. Cinderella's like, I got nothing now. She's like, nothing? Really? If you lost all of your faith, I couldn't be here, and I'm right here. And Cinderella, not afraid of this woman at all. Which I don't know if I would be either. She looks adorable. She looks like the cutest little grandmother ever. And she's like, you can't go to the ball crying? She's like, the ball? I can't go to the ball. She's like, of course you can. But even miracles take time, so we need to hurry. She loses her magic wand. but then remembers that she puts it away and just pulls it out of thin air, which is a really cool animation bit too. I did enjoy that. She's also a forgetful godmother. I would be too. So the first thing she needs is a pumpkin, apparently. Now, I'm sure all three of us were watching this, we were just like, can you just fix her dress, please? That is the bit. So she starts singing Bippity Boppity Boo. Good song. Classic Disney song. This pumpkin that she enchants gets feet and legs for a little bit. Or feet and legs. Gets legs and arms for a little bit before it turns into a carriage. Very beautiful carriage, I will say, but did not remember that part. That it got legs for a second. So gorgeous carriage. You can actually rent this carriage if you get married in Disney. So next up, they need horses. And instead of having the actual horse pulling the carriage, she turns 4 mice, Jacques and Gus being one of them, into horses. I didn't remember that they were the ones, Jacques and Gus were one of the ones that got turned into horses.
That horse looks so excited to be of use.
I
And
know. I
then
feel so bad for the horse.
Yeah.
He was like, "This is my time. I've been
The
with
mice,
her since I was a pony."
yeah, and the mice were terrified to become horses. Gus ran away. However, when he became a horse, he did get to scare Lucifer into a fountain. And Cinderella goes, "Oh, poor Lucifer." And the godmother's like, "It serves him right." Very true, godmother.
it does.
I remember Jacques and Gus being the coachman and driver.
No,
Like, does anyone else have that memory?
no.
No.
Okay, cool.
I thought they were animals. I don't remember the mice being part of it at all. But the horse turns into the coachman, which I guess, good for him. He's not pulling all of the rain, like the heavy lifting this time. He gets to feel what it's like to not have to do that. And Bruno becomes the footman. Cute little doggy. Once she does all of this, she's like, "All right, hurry up, let's go. Uh, don't try and thank me." And she's like, "I wasn't, but I do want to thank you." Um, and this is Frankie's other favorite scene.
Yeah, because the wicked witch or the wicked witch, the fairy godmother is so happy, and then as she's saying, as Cinderella's saying, but she's like, "No, you gotta go," and then she goes, "Oh, I have the line written down because it made me laugh. Good heavens, child, you can't go in that."
And Cinderella gives like this sigh of relief, like, "Oh, you've acknowledged it finally." So Fairy Godmother looks up her size, measures her via her wand, looks at her eyes, and makes a beautiful gown. Gorgeous animation, Walt's favorite animation. Here we go. Whoa. It's a beautiful dress. And it is a very, very pretty dress. I love that color. Would you say that's
It's much
silver?
better than the
Would you
first
say
one.
that's blue? I think it's more silver than blue, but she shows up in the parks in blue.
Silver
I'd say
doesn't
it's
pop
blue.
as well than the blue when you like line the princesses up, so they changed it to blue, but it is indeed silver.
I always thought it was blue, but who cares what I think about colors?
Yeah, well, you're colorblind.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so
why I said that.
yeah, I know. Well, I believe I've made a joke about that before in a previous episode. But the fairy godmother tells her that the spell's only going to last until midnight because miracles can't last forever. And Cinderella's like, "That's perfectly fine because that's more than I thought I was going to get." Which very, very reasonable response. So Godmother is like, "Get in the fucking carriage. We gotta go. You gotta go do your thing." All right, and she sends them off. And Cinderella like waves back to her fairy godmother, and the fairy godmother waves back before she disappears. So, and we never see the fairy godmother again. It's kind of heartbreaking. I kind of wanted her to like follow Cinderella and like be a grandma to her the rest of the time. I don't know. It's just a me thing. Um, so back at the palace, the prince is just standing in the middle of this giant ass ballroom, just having these women come up to him and bow to him, just paraded in front of him, and he's just like, he's bowing like he's being courteous, but at one point he yawns in front of this girl. I feel bad for some of these girls. So we see the king. He's talking with his duke. The king's like, this son of mine isn't budging. He's not doing anything that I want him to do. Like, he hasn't found anybody. Cinderella arrives to the ball, and she starts, walking in. She does get the side eye from some guards. And I think that side eye is, you came late. Then Anastasia and Drizella, it's their turn to go up. And the prince literally looks at them and looks at the ceiling and gives a sigh like, oh my fucking god, who are these people? Jesus Christ.
My
Very
note here
beautiful
is the prince in the corner is just there going, "Oh, brother."
prince. Yeah.
The
Very
king
relatable.
also thinks all these women suck though too. So like,
Yeah, he says whenever he sees them, even I couldn't expect the boy to, and he doesn't finish the sentence because it probably would be too mean. Um, and the Duke is
He's the
getting
one
all
who set
cocky.
it up.
The Duke is getting all cocky, like, I tried to warn you this wasn't gonna work. What did you think was gonna happen? He was gonna see, like, this beautiful woman from across the way. Uh, he looks up, he stops, he sees her, right? He approaches her and they dance the night away. Right? The girl of his dreams or whatever. And as he's saying this, that is exactly what fucking happens. He is narrating everything. The prince goes and he sees Cinderella and he grabs her hand. He bows and she bows. And the king is watching this super excited. Of course, the duke is like, that stuff's fairy tale. This was all gonna end in failure. And the king is like, oh, you want to fucking bet? Look there, you pompous windbag. That is what he calls him. And makes him look through his monocle. He asks if he knows who that girl is. He does not. So the king hurry up and makes them play the waltz, which is So This Is Love, and we get the dancing scene, which lasted shorter than I thought it did. When I was a kid, I remember literally fast forwarding through this part. It was so long to me, and I was like, I don't need to see them dance. But they do.
But it's where they fall in love and he can't remember what she looks like, even though he stares directly at her face.
Yeah.
yeah, I have a question for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Which one is more useless, the one in Snow White or the Cinderella prince?
This one, I would say,
Cinderella.
is. Yeah, this one's more useless. He doesn't even go look for the princess himself.
I thought that too, but I wanted your thoughts as well.
The other one at least kissed a dead body, so. And, like, went out on his own to do that, so I guess good for him.
Snow White's
Yeah.
prince didn't even know she was missing.
Yeah.
Whereas Prince Charming watches Cinderella run away.
And then does nothing about it.
Yeah.
The king is like to the Duke, he's like, well, this is going according to plan. Hey, Duke, nobody interrupt them, nobody do anything. Okay? And if something goes wrong, you're in trouble. So everybody's trying to figure out who this girl is, especially Anastasia, Drizella, and Lady Tremaine. But before Lady Tremaine can follow them anymore, the Duke closes the curtain and prevents them from interrupting her. Or them. And they just fucking dance. They don't talk at all, but they fall in love via dancing. Because that's what actually happens. I would never do that. Although they do end up going for a walk. Maybe they talk while they're walking. You would think, though, that he would ask her name. Which, that's another thing I forgot to mention early in the beginning. The dad actually names her Cinderella.
Yeah, she doesn't get the nickname from cleaning chimneys.
Yeah. The dad does that. So, I don't blame her for maybe not sharing her name.
She could just say Ella.
Yeah, that she could.
Or just Cindy.
The prince and her almost kiss, but right before they do, oh no, the clock strikes midnight. She's got to get out of here, and she fucking bolts. She's like, it's midnight. He's like, yeah, so? She's like, goodbye. He's like, no, wait a minute, no, you can't go. She's like, I have to. Please let go of me. She makes the excuse, "Oh, the prince. I haven't met the prince. That's why I have to go." And he's like, "But didn't you know?" And before he could finish, she's gone. So she starts booking it. And you would think that he could keep up with a woman in high heels.
Glass high heels.
Yeah, he can't. Um, so she waves and starts saying goodbye, and the Duke, sees this and he starts freaking out. The prince is bombarded by a bunch of other women. She drops the slipper on the steps, and the Duke picks it up, and she's like, "My lady, wait a minute." Um, he starts calling for the guards as she gets into the carriage and escapes, and she's like, "Close the gates," sends out these guards, and these guards are in these black horses with these red capes. Terrifying. Do y'all remember this part? Where she gets chased by headless horseman ass horses, basically?
No.
That's terrifying.
It was weird and unnecessary.
Yeah. But as she's running away, the pumpkin, everything changes back. The mice, the dog, the horse, dress is gone. But she has to get out of the way because these fucking horses are coming, and they smash the pumpkin. Which I guess she was planning on keeping because it was the only thing she could remember it by, but then she realizes that she has the slipper. She apologizes to everybody. She's like, "I'm sorry, I guess we forgot everything." She's like, "It was perfect. I bet even the prince himself couldn't have been more romantic. Oh well, it's over, and oh, look, she has a slipper that she can remember it by." And she thanks the fairy godmother. The Duke goes into the king's quarters the next day, and, well, before he does, he's trying to, I guess he's preparing to have this talk with the king, with a chair. He does go in. The king is sleeping very peacefully. He's dreaming that he is giving his, I guess, grandkids horsey rides or whatever. Which is cute and all, but if those are what Cinderella's kids look like, we are in trouble. They're haunting looking. The king wakes up due to like a knock on his door, and the Duke comes in and basically tells him what happened. The king wants him, like, gives him a cigar and says that things are going to, be good. He almost knights him. Gives him almost whatever title that he would like, but then he says she got away. The Duke tries to remind him about his blood pressure. Uh, and I think the king does actually try and kill him a couple of times. Like,
Yeah, he's swinging that sword.
yeah. He cuts his cigar in half. He slices the table in half. He slices the chair in half. Um, Meanwhile, the Duke is trying to tell him that, we do have a slipper, so we can maybe find her, even though we don't know her name and everything. The king's like, "Fine. You have the
I
slipper."
love I love that it's like, "We have her shoe," not, "Hey, your son danced with her for, like, an hour straight
Yeah.
and knows what she looks like."
Hmm.
It's, "We have her shoe."
Yeah.
What you
He,
guys
I guess
don't know about
yeah,
the prince, he can't remember anyone's face.
yeah.
He only remembers feet.
Yeah.
Um, well, I guess the Duke says something that catches his ear, which is he's only going to marry that girl, and we have the slipper. So the king's like, "All right, so go try the slipper on every woman and bring her in. If you don't, you're fucking dead." That's basically the gist of it. We see out front of the castle, by proclamation of the king, every eligible woman needs to try this on. Back to the chateau. Stepmother is like, "Cinderella, where are you?" She's like, "Where are my kids?" She's like, "I think they're still sleeping." And the stepmother's like, "Ugh, whatever. Um, don't just stand there. Go get our breakfast or whatever." So Jacques and Gus hear this and they go and spy on what's going on. Cinderella also is able to catch what is happening. So apparently, she finds out that the prince has been hunting all night. Except it's not the prince, it's the Duke.
The
Um,
prince doesn't give a shit.
I mean, he does, but he's not going to do it himself. Um, she's like, he's madly in love with her, and Anastasia's like, the Duke is madly in love with the girl who lost her slipper? And she's like, no, the prince. But he's gonna try on the shoe, and there's gonna be here, so you guys need to look your best, or whatever. Cinderella hears this, hears that nobody knows who the girl the prince danced with is. The only clue is the glass slipper. So, the Duke has been ordered to try it on everyone, and he's gonna make that girl his bride. And she goes into like this little dreamy trance or whatever, which she shouldn't have done because then the stepmother wouldn't have found out. I'm correct in assuming that, right?
Yeah, if she played it cool, if she was just like, okay, I'm gonna continue on.
Mm-hmm. Instead, she gives the
But
clothes
she
that were
can't play
piling.
it cool.
Yeah.
She's too excited. She's hyped.
Instead, what she gave. It's fine if she wanted to be in a daydream or anything, but she gave the clothes that they were piling into her arms back to her sisters, her stepsisters. Then we get Frankie's animation where the stepmother is just like, I realized it. And
So good.
it is. And the mice are like, she's gonna do something. We need to warn Cinderella. And Cinderella is in her room playing in like her mirror. They try and warn her. She turns around at the last second and sees her, stepmother locking her in her room. She's like, no, please, you can't do this. You have to let me out. And she doesn't. She puts the key in, I guess, her dress pocket, because dresses had pockets. Pants don't have pockets nowadays, but back then I guess we had pockets. That's some bullshit. So Jacques and Gus are like, we gotta get the key. The Duke is here. We gotta do this quickly.
It is not quick.
It's not. This is 13. I would hazard a guess, like, maybe like 10 minutes. Because there's 13 minutes left at this point, from what I remember. This Duke is exhausted. And the footman, I guess, that's with him, or the guy that keeps in charge of the slipper or whatever, makes him read this long ass proclamation. And he shows off the slipper. And Gisella's like, wow, that's my slipper. And Anastasia's like, well, that looks like my slipper. And he's like, can I please finish reading this fucking proclamation? I don't really have to, because everybody probably knows why I'm here. But can I please just get it over with? I'm exhausted.
I want to see the one family who like was just sleeping through all the excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And the Duke shows up. He's like, "Hey, where's your daughter? She needs to try the shoe on."
So Jacques and Gus try and get the key. While he's doing all of this, they do manage to get it out, but not without some like close calls. At one point, Lady Tremaine goes and grabs like the key and holds on to it for a second. Gus almost gets boiled by some tea, but he doesn't because the Duke doesn't want it. Anastasia tries on the slipper and she's like, "Oh, it fits! Haha! Just kidding. It barely. It fit. I don't know what you would call that part. Not your heel, but like,
It fit the ball of her foot.
yeah, the ball of her foot. That's it. And this poor little dude is trying to smash this on. You should know that it's not gonna fit." The Duke is falling asleep in the chair, and the mice are trying to get the key up the stairs, which is a big task, and you think they would have called on some other mice.
They could have given it to a bird.
Yeah, doesn't work. The Duke ends up waking up because when she's pushing her foot against the little footman dude, he bumps into the piano and wakes him up. He's like, all right, next woman, she can try it on because it obviously is not fitting. They get it to the top of the stairs and Cinderella sees them through the keyhole, but before they can give her the key, they get attacked by Lucifer. And Cinderella's like, let him go, Lucifer. Come on. So the mice start attacking. They have forks, they have candles. Nothing is working. So finally, Cinderella's like, just go get Bruno. Just get Bruno. So the birds go and get Bruno. It takes him a little bit to wake up. He is an old dog. But when they get him, he does go and he scares Lucifer away. While this is happening, though, Drizella is trying on the shoe, and it's not working either. At one point, she's like, "I'll make it fit," and she does get it to fit for a second, but then it immediately pops off her foot, and the slipper goes flying, and it almost shatters to the ground. But thankfully, the Duke is able to catch it, and he's like, "Oh, thank God." And Lady Tremaine apologizes. She's like, "This won't happen again," and he's like, "Damn well it won't." But Jacques
This
and Gus,
man's life is on the line, and they're playing games.
I know, he's terrified. Jacques and Gus are able to get the key to Cinderella. We see the Duke, he's about ready to leave, and he's like, "Hey, I assume that you are the only ladies in the household." And the stepmother's like, "There's no one else, Your Grace." And he's like, "Good day." Cinderella comes down, "Your Grace, please wait." And she comes down the steps. "May I try on the slipper?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, of course." And he looks at her and he starts smiling. And he looks at her feet specifically and starts smiling because he's like, it's her. Lady Tremaine is like, she's just an imaginative child, but he's not having it. He's like, "My orders were every maiden." And he's like, "Come, my child," and like takes her arm and is very sweet to her.
He
So,
remembers her face.
yeah. So he brings in the shoe, but before the shoe can get to them, the guy trips because Lady Tremaine trips him and the slipper breaks. And you see this guy just lose it. He's trying to put the pieces together. He's like, "I'm dead. I'm so dead. The king's gonna kill me." And Cinderella's trying to like be like, "Hey, it's okay. Perhaps it would help if I have the other slipper." And Lady Tremaine's face when she shows that other slipper, she's horrified. But this guy is so happy because it means he gets to keep his head. So he's so excited. He tries on the slipper, which I'm sure he's like, "I don't even need to if you had the other one, but I'm gonna do it anyway." And he does, and it fits. Perfect fit. Nobody's feet look that perfect. Whatever. Wedding bells. We send Cinderella and the prince running down the steps of the palace. They've just gotten married. Cinderella loses her shoe again. She turns around.
This bitch needs to find some shoes that fit. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yeah, it's clearly not a perfect fit if they keep falling off.
Yeah. The king puts her shoe back
Also,
on. Oh, yes.
I think Cinderella has one of the prettiest wedding
Wedding
dresses.
dresses? Yes,
Yeah.
100%. She kisses the king on his little top of his bald head for putting her shoe back on, and her and Prince Charming go into the carriage, and they live happily ever after, and the last scene is them kissing. Wonderful. I liked this.
There is a shot of them in the carriage, and she is the only character
Animated.
moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find it so funny because he is sitting there so stiffly in the background, and it always makes me laugh.
Because he's useless in every
He
sense of the
is,
word.
he
Yeah.
is, until we get to Cinderella 3, and then he becomes fun.
We have years to go before
Yeah.
we get there.
Hey, we have Prince Philip coming up, and he does a lot. I
He
feel like he's in
does.
the movie more
He
than
does
Sleeping Beauty.
he
He
does
is.
actual things, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Sleeping Beauty a few years back, and I was like, "Dang, Prince Philip is actually putting an effort. Is he one of the best Disney princes?"
He might be. I also think he's
Like,
one of the
especially
handsomest.
from this era.
Yeah.
He is cute, yeah.
He does more than Prince
Alright,
Eric
well,
does. Uh, anyway, so I liked this. This was nice. I'm sure Frankie was
yeah.
relieved.
I was relieved to have a movie. Yeah, you're right.
So I'm kind of torn. Um,
On.
where I'm ranking this.
Okay. Do you want to do the other rankings first and while you think about this, or
No, I think I'm gonna need your help with this.
okay.
I'm thinking of putting Cinderella second because I still think Bambi is better.
I would agree with that. I think
Okay,
Bambi's still better.
Anna.
I couldn't remember what was in the first spot, so I was going to put Cinderella in the top spot, but only because I couldn't remember what was actually there.
Now that you know it's Bambi,
I'll agree with second.
Cinderella goes to second
Cinderella's
place.
number 2.
Yeah.
Alright, where are we putting Cinderella as the hero?
Um, who are my heroes?
There's only 6.
Okay.
Number 6 is Mr. Benchley from The Reluctant Dragon.
Okay. Above that.
Number 5 is Snow White. Number
Above that.
4 are the Three Caballeros.
Above that.
Number 3 is Pinocchio.
Above that.
Number 2 is Dumbo. And number
Ooh.
1 is Bambi.
Oh, I don't know. She does a lot. Like, she's in it a lot. I think I'm going to put her. I don't know, because Dumbo does a lot too. Dumbo, like, oh man. I think she's number 3.
Number 3 as a protagonist. Okay. Where are we putting Lady Tremaine as the villain?
I think I'm gonna put her at the top spot. She's evil.
Over the Queen!
Yeah.
She is.
Good.
She is horrible. So Lady
If you
Tremaine is our number 1 villain, dethroning the Queen.
Yeah.
Finally.
if you hadn't put Lady Tremaine in at number 1, I was gonna come and fight you. Like, I had an argument ready for why she should be at the top spot.
No, yeah. Here's the thing. Killing somebody, sure. Torturing them their entire life this way? Oh my god.
This horror was very real.
Yeah.
And
An
the
abuser
Queen
is
didn't
yeah.
actually kill anybody. She
Right. She just
almost
sent
killed
people. Yeah.
somebody.
She just sent people out. And even her poison apple was just a sleeping potion, so Snow White didn't even feel
Yeah.
pain, really.
Alright, any heartbreaking moments that you think make the list? You only have 2 heartbreaking moments so far.
Man, that dress scene where she gets her dress torn and then like runs into the garden, I actually teared up.
Yeah, so did I. I'll admit it.
So what are my heart-breaking moments that I have right now?
You have 2. Number 2 is Baby Mine from Dumbo,
Ugh.
and number 1 is Bambi's mom dying.
Okay, well, it's number 3 just by default because I cried at both of those.
Cinderella's dress destruction.
That one's gonna be hard to
Alright,
beat.
Bambi's mom dying, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a rough one.
Yeah.
Alright, Jock and Gus Gus as sidekicks.
Who are my sidekicks that I have right now?
The number 4 is Jiminy Cricket, because as we all know, we're a Jiminy Cricket hate podcast.
Yeah, fuck that fucker. He's gonna be at the bottom
Number
forever.
number 3 are the dwarves. Number
Okay.
2 is Timothy Mouse, and number 1 are Thumper and Flower.
Ooh.
Oh. I don't know if they beat Thumper. You know what? Yeah, they do. They kind of saved the day.
They do way more than Thumper and Flower do.
You're right. You're right.
Jock and Gus Gus, number 1.
Excuse me, put his full legal name of Octavius.
I'm
Octavius.
not putting Octavius. It's Jock and Gus Gus. And then song.
Well,
I assume we're
Bippity
going
Boppity
with Bippity Boppity Boo.
That technically was nominated for an award.
Yeah,
And
so
that
I
is
guess
the iconic song.
yeah, that is the iconic song. We can't pick anything else.
So where would we put this? We have 6
Can you-
songs. We have Hi
Okay.
Ho.
Uh-huh.
We have the April Shower song from Bambi.
Okay.
Then we have When I See an Elephant Fly.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Three Caballeros song.
Mm.
Then we have Zippity Doo Dah. And then we have When You Wish Upon a Star. That's number
We
1.
have When You Wish Upon a Star is number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went
Okay,
reverse.
I
went
was
from-
like, since when is it at the bottom?
I
No,
don't
that's
think it
number
beats.
1. That's the top.
Yeah, I don't think it beats When You Wish Upon a Star. I think it's number 2.
Okay, Bippity Boppity Boo is the number 2 Disney song. Cinderella is cleaning up right now,
I know.
though. Because
Really came
it's an
in and just
actual
put everybody to
movie.
shame.
It showed them what it shows us what they can do when they actually
Try.
make a movie.
All right.
So
Well,
Amanda, what's the next Disney movie gonna be? Reveal this to people so they are ready.
it's our first live action one.
Oh no.
It is Treasure
scared.
Island.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Ugh. Not even Muppet Treasure Island, just regular Treasure Island.
It is just Treasure Island. If it makes you feel any better, the next one is Alice in Wonderland.
That doesn't
Makes-
actually make me feel better.
That doesn't make me feel better because I still have to watch Treasure Island.
I've never actually watched this one the whole way through. I had this, and like I would watch it, and then I would stop watching it, and then I'd come back to it.
So let's just do a quick little trip into the Disney Plus app,
Is it
which has
on?
been getting. And I'm looking right now. I know Muppet Treasure Island is on there.
I know
It is. Treasure
Oh.
Island is there from 1950. Man, this
Oh.
movie does not look good.
It's an hour and 30
Yikes.
minutes.
Oh,
That's a respectable film.
Uh-huh.
fucking Bobby Driscoll is back, everyone.
Yeah, he is.
Do they not know any other children?
No. It's only Bobby Driscoll.
Yeah, so
Jesus Christ.
the next couple of movies, Treasure Island, Alice in Wonderland, The Story of Robin Hood, and then Peter Pan. And let me tell you,
This is
we
gonna
think
That
be-
is the
we think
Robin
Cin-
Hood animals, right?
No, that
No.
one didn't come out until the 70s.
Damn it.
We have such a long wait to go until the real good Disney Treasure Island movie, which is of course Muppet Treasure Island.
Treasure
There's
Planet?
some really weird ones coming up.
No, Muppet Treasure Island is a Disney movie.
Yeah, I know. And Treasure Planet is superior to that one.
Not to Muppet Treasure Island. Are you
Yes,
shitting
it
me?
is.
I'm sorry. Does Treasure Planet have Tim Curry?
Are there Muppets?
Yeah, watch so. Oh yeah, are there Muppets in Treasure Planet running around that I wasn't aware of?
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Do they
Treasure
sing a
Planet-
song
Treasure
about
Planet
rats
is kicking.
going on a cruise on a pirate ship?
I'm gonna tell you right now, Treasure Planet is going to kick Muppet Treasure Island's ass.
This is disgusting. This is revolting behavior.
If
I'm a
we're gonna
supposed
have a
Disney
fight.
expert.
You know what's gonna kick everybody's ass though? Peter Pan.
No.
See, this is gonna be some bias.
No.
This is gonna be some bias because you're gonna put Peter Pan above. Like I think right now, looking at the list, Peter Pan should go very high.
It should, and it should go, I think, above Bambi.
What the
Well, I haven't watched it
what
in
are
a
you
while, so
on?
we'll have to see. But you're also good. I think you're gonna try and argue Peter Pan above some like real good movies. And Hannah and I know this is your list, but Hannah and I are gonna have to create our own list at that point.
I don't
We're gonna
think
have our own list, like I have my own list for Pepe.
I don't think it's the quintessential Disney movie, if that's what you guys are worried
Okay.
about.
I'm
It is-
I'm worried you're putting it above like Lion King and Beauty and
No.
the Beast.
No,
That's my fear.
no.
Okay.
I will say Second Star to the Right is in the running. For like good song.
I haven't listened to any of the Peter Pan songs in a very long time, so.
I
But
don't think I've ever watched Peter Pan the whole way through.
You know what? That's not true. I did listen to the racist one in college because I did a project about racism in Disney movies, so I did have to listen to that one. But
okay.
That wasn't even gonna be on the list though.
Yeah. Yeah, that
yeah, I
one,
know. I
we're gonna
wasn't
forget that
saying that
exists.
that one's in the list. God, I can't wait to read the warning before Peter Pan.
Ooh,
It is
that'll be a
there.
good one.
It is there for somebody who watches that
This-
movie.
Cinderella did not have a warning, by the way. Just a little. I mean, it wouldn't. There's no need for it to have
Yeah,
a warning, but
yeah. What was the warning gonna be? Be nice to your stepmothers. Not all of them are this awful.
I do want to know if Treasure Island's gonna have a warning because there's smoking in that movie. So
Who knows? But no, Peter Pan is not gonna take this top spot on my Disney list. Just because it is my favorite Disney movie, it does not mean that I think it is quintessentially like the most like best Disney movie out there. I like it because
right.
I am biased, right? That movie helped me through some hard times. So, but I
Okay.
do think Peter Pan, whenever it comes, is gonna clean up shop. I think things are going to
We'll see
overtake
about
it.
that.
Yeah. I think some things are going to overtake it later on, but I think it's going to take over Alice in Wonderland, which Alice in Wonderland I think is better than Bambi.
Okay, we're gonna have some arguments in a few weeks when we get to Alice in Wonderland then.
No, Alice in Wonderland is a beautiful marvel. It was like the first time that Disney actually like let themselves go a little crazy.
I don't think it's that
Well,
good of a
I think
movie.
they went a little crazy in a bad way with some of these other movies.
Well, yeah. But artistically crazy. Like the surrealist art in Alice in Wonderland. Mwah, gorgeous. So,
All right. Well, that will be our next Disney episode. Will be Treasure Island next week. Amanda, you were a week ahead. We are doing WCW, but you were a week ahead on it.
okay.
But yeah, the next week will be the next episode of WCW Monday Nitro. So we'll get Pepe outfit.
Pepe.
All right. So if you're listening to us, we're currently on YouTube and Spotify. If you're listening to us on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notification when each episode is uploaded on Wednesday morning. If you're listening to us on Spotify, remember to follow the show, leave a rating, leave a review, and answer the question. Amanda, what's the question gonna be?
Oh fuck, I don't know. Was it
Is
You know
Prince
what?
Charming the most useless Disney prince?
No, because everybody's gonna say yes to this. Is Prince Charming handsomer than Snow White's prince?
Okay. Is Prince Charming more handsome than Snow White's prince? Does Snow White's prince not have a name? Is it just Snow White's prince?
I believe it's Prince Ferdinand. We talked about this.
Nope. Yeah, no one's gonna know that though. Yeah, I'll put Snow White's prince.
Yeah.
That's no matter where you're listening to us, remember to share the show with people you think might like any of the eclectic topics that we talk about. If you would like to send us an email with some ideas for episodes, some thoughts you have about the show, or questions you would like us to answer, you can send that email over to.
Nothing to see here podcast at gmail.com. As always, here is spelled HEAR.
If you would like to see some great artwork done by Amanda, some funny memes created by Hannah, and images of things that we talked about, like maybe Lucifer from Cinderella, then you can find all of that and more over on our Instagram page, which is at.
Nothing to see here pod.
That is all the business taken care of. So saying goodbye and good night. It's Frankie.
It's Hannah.
Go try and make some friends with the mice in your house. Sure.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.